Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. One of the biggest mistakes people make in life is spending so much of their energy, their time, and their focus on everybody else that they forget about themselves. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're not whole, if you're not focused, if you're not taking care of you, then sooner or later you will lose everything you worked so hard to build. I'm here to tell you, focus on yourself before you lose everything. Ladies and gentlemen, let me break something down to you. Too many people have been taught that taking care of yourself first makes you selfish. Somewhere along the line, people got the idea that if you put yourself at the top of your priority list, you must not care about others. That couldn't be further from the truth. Self-care is not selfish, it is survival. It's the foundation you need if you want to handle life and still have something left to give to the people you love. If you don't take the time to focus on your own well-being, your own growth, and your own peace, then sooner or later you're going to run dry. When you run dry, you got nothing left for anybody. Think about it. When you're on the airplane, what do they tell you before takeoff? They tell you that if the oxygen mask comes down, put yours on first before helping anyone else. Why? Because if you can't breathe, you can't save anybody else. That's life right there. You can't help nobody if you don't first help yourself. See, life has a funny way of pulling on you from every direction. Your job needs something, your family needs something, your friends need something, your responsibilities pile up, and before you know it, every ounce of your energy has been handed out like free samples at the grocery store. But here's the thing, they don't give you any of it back. Life will take and take and take. And if you don't stop and say, hold on, I need to recharge, you will collapse under the weight of everything you've been carrying. You got to learn to protect your energy. You've got to learn to say no sometime. You've got to learn that peace of mind is worth more than pleasing people who are just going to keep asking for more. When you neglect yourself, when you don't sleep, when you don't eat right, when you don't take time for your soul, you start to break down slowly. And sometimes you don't even notice it until it's too late. I know some of y'all think being busy means you're being productive, but that's a lie. Just because you're moving all day doesn't mean you're moving forward. You can run yourself into the ground and still not get anywhere if you're running on empty. You can be the hardest worker in the room and still fall apart if you never take care of your own foundation. Let me tell you something. Success requires you to be present, alert, and strong. And you can't be any of those things if you drain. You've got to treat yourself like the most valuable investment you've got, because that's exactly what you are. Your body, your mind, your spirit. That's the engine that drives your life. You can buy another car, you can buy another house, you can buy new clothes, but you can't buy another you. If you lose yourself, everything else crumbles. People will sometimes guilt trip you for stepping back and say, I need to focus on me for a while. They'll call you selfish. They'll call you distant. They'll say you've changed. But what they don't realize is you're not abandoning them. You're saving yourself. And when you save yourself, you're actually making yourself stronger for the times they really need you. There's nothing selfish about resting, about praying, about meditating, about taking a walk, about reading something that feeds your mind, about saying, I need a moment for me. That's not selfish. That's wisdom. That's strength. And let me tell you, peace of mind has no price tag. You can chase all the money in the world. You can stack your calendar with every responsibility. You can try to be everything to everybody. But if you don't have peace in your heart and health in your body, none of it matters. That's why I say focus on yourself before you lose everything. Because if you lose your peace, your health, your balance, everything else you're trying to hold together will eventually slip right through your fingers. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say focus on yourself, I also mean stop letting distractions rob you of your vision. See, most people don't even realize how much of their life they're wasting on things that don't matter. They're busy scrolling through social media, comparing themselves to people who only show the highlight reel. They're busy chasing validation from folks who don't even clap when they win. They're busy trying to keep up with neighbors, friends, family members, and sometimes even strangers, and they end up drifting further and further away from their own purpose. The truth is, distractions are dream killers. They look harmless because they're small, but they pile up, and before you know it, your time, your energy, and your drive have all been stolen. I've seen so many people with potential that could move mountains, but they let little distractions eat up their destiny. They spend hours every day watching what somebody else is doing instead of asking themselves, what am I supposed to be building? And here's the thing, those people you're watching, those people you're idolizing, those people you're comparing yourself to, they're not thinking about you. They're out there grinding, they're out there focused, they're out there chasing what's theirs. Meanwhile, you're losing ground because you're too busy looking sideways instead of forward. That's how distractions work. They trick you into wasting your most valuable resource, time. Time is the one thing you don't get back. And when you waste it chasing approval, chasing likes, chasing gossip, you're paying the highest price for the lowest reward. Let me tell you something important. The people whose opinions you losing sleep over, they don't live your life, they don't pay your bills, they don't carry your struggles, and they don't share your dreams. So why do you care so much what they think? You'll never move into your destiny if you keep trying to live for the applause of people. And let me tell you, people are fickle. They'll cheer for you today and boo you tomorrow. They'll love you when you're winning and forget about you when you're down. That's why your focus has to stay on you, on what God gave you, on the path you meant to walk. Because no matter how loud the crowd gets, their noise can't add or subtract from your worth. Distractions don't always come from strangers either. Sometimes they come from the people closest to you. Friends, family. Even people you love can unknowingly distract you from your purpose. They might not mean any harm, but if they don't share your vision, they can pull you off course. That's why you've got to be clear on what you're building and protect it fiercely. If you don't guard your dream, you'll let everybody else's demands, problems, and opinions bury it before it even has a chance to live. Focus doesn't mean you stop loving people. It means you stop letting them dictate your direction. You can't live your whole life saying yes to everybody else and still expect to have time left for your own goal. You've got to learn to block out the noise. That means sometimes you got to put your phone down, turn off the television, and stop chasing entertainment that steals your energy but gives you nothing back. That means you got to start asking yourself every single day, is this moving me closer to my goal or further away from it? That means you've got to develop the courage to walk away from conversations, environments, and even relationships that distract you from your purpose, because at the end of the day, you can't blame distractions for stealing your focus. You've got to take responsibility for what you allow in your space. And let's be real, distractions feel good. They're comfortable, they're easy, they're fun. It's easy to get lost in watching other people's lives. It's easy to spend hours gossiping. It's easy to scroll and compare. But easy doesn't build dreams. Easy doesn't create legacies. Easy doesn't get you where you want to be. You've got to choose discipline over distraction, vision over validation, purpose over popularity. Because when you do, you take your power back. And once you take your power back, nothing can stop you from moving toward what's truly yours. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight up. Dreams don't work without discipline. Too many people think success is just about wishing, hoping, or wanting it bad enough. But the truth is, you can want it all day long, and if you don't have the discipline to put in the work, you're not going to see it happen. Discipline is what separates the people who talk about it from the people who actually live it. And here's the problem most people run into. They spend so much time looking around at what everybody else is doing that they never buckle down and put the work into their own vision. Every time you compare yourself to somebody else, every time you waste hours watching somebody else's grind, you're delaying your own. You've got to understand that success is not glamorous in the beginning. It's not lights, it's not cameras, it's not applause. Success is the grind nobody sees, the sacrifices nobody claps for, and the hours you put in when you'd really be doing something else. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is choosing your future over your feelings. Discipline is saying no to distractions, no to shortcuts, no to laziness, and yes to consistency. Because I tell you this, talent might get you noticed, but discipline is what's going to keep you there. Some of y'all got big dreams, but you keep losing because you don't have control over yourself. You start something, but the moment it gets uncomfortable, you quit. You make a plan, but the first time you get tired, you give up. And then you look around wondering why nothing's working. It's not the dream that's broken. It's the discipline that's missing. Success doesn't belong to the smartest, the luckiest, or even the most talented. Success belongs to the ones who refuse to quit, the ones who stay consistent, the ones who grind when nobody's watching. Discipline is the bridge between your potential and your reality. Without it, you're just daydreaming. I've seen people waste years because they thought motivation was enough. Motivation will get you started, but discipline will keep you going. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings change every day. You can wake up motivated on Monday and be lazy by Tuesday. But discipline is a decision. It's saying, I don't care how I feel today, I'm going to do what needs to be done. That's the difference maker. That's what keeps you on track when life throws distractions, when obstacles get in your way, and when progress feels slow. Another thing you've got to realize is that discipline requires sacrifice. You can't have it all at once. You can't chase every pleasure, every comfort, every distraction, and still expect to build something lasting. You've got to let some things go. You've got to miss some parties. You've got to stay up late. You've got to wake up early. You've got to put in hours when other people are relaxing. That is the cost of chasing greatness. The people you see shining today, the ones who inspire you, they paid for it with discipline. You can't get there wishing. You get there working. And I tell you something else. When you stay disciplined long enough, it becomes a habit. At first, it's tough. At first, it feels uncomfortable. But over time, your discipline turns into your lifestyle. And once it's your lifestyle, nobody can take it from you. You don't have to force yourself anymore because it becomes who you are. That's when the game changes. That's when you stop chasing success and success starts chasing you because you've built the kind of consistency that produces results over and over again. Discipline is the silent builder of confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you show up even when you don't feel like it, every time you stay on track when you could have taken the easy way out, you build confidence in yourself. You start to trust your own word. You start to believe in your own power. And that belief is what fuels you to keep going even bigger the next time. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to understand something real important. Focusing on yourself also means facing what's broken inside of you. See, a lot of people walk around dressed up nice, smiling for the camera, posting happy pictures online, but deep down they're carrying wounds they never dealt with. They're carrying pain from the past, rejection they never healed from, disappointment they never forgave, and trauma they never talked about. And here's the truth. If you don't take the time to heal those broken places, they will follow you everywhere you go. You can't outrun pain. You can't bury it under success, under money, under attention, or under relationships, because sooner or later it will surface. And when it surfaces, it will cost you. It can cost you your peace. It can cost you opportunities. And it can even cost you the people you love. Most people think ignoring their pain makes them strong. They say, I'm fine, I'm over it, I don't care anymore. But on the inside, they're bleeding. You can't cover a wound by pretending it doesn't exist. Healing doesn't happen through denial, it happens through acknowledgement. You got to admit when something hurt you. You got to admit when something broke you. That's not weakness. That's the first step to getting strong again. Because the moment you face what hurt you is the moment you take back control from it. As long as you run from it, it still has power over you. Healing also means forgiveness. And I know that's hard. Some of y'all are holding on to anger, bitterness, and resentment like it's protecting you, but the truth is it's poisoning you. Forgiveness doesn't mean what happened was okay. It doesn't mean you forget. And it doesn't mean you let people walk back into your life to hurt you again. Forgiveness means you stop letting that pain live rent-free in your spirit. It means you release yourself from carrying that weight every single day. Because carrying unforgiveness doesn't hurt the other person, it hurts you. It slows you down. It clouds your vision. It blocks your joy. When you forgive, you're not giving a gift to them. You're giving freedom to yourself. Now, healing also requires growth. You can't stay stuck in the same mindset that broke you. You got to be willing to learn, to change, and to rise above what happened. Some people get so comfortable in their pain that they start using it as an excuse not to move forward. They keep telling the same story about who hurt them, who betrayed them, who let them down. And they never realize that holding on to that story is keeping them in the same place. You can't build your future if you keep rehearsing your past. Growth means taking the lesson, but leaving the pain behind. Growth means saying, I may not have chosen what happened to me, but I will choose how I respond to it from this day forward. Another part of healing is surrounding yourself with the right people. You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. If you're around people who keep reopening your wounds, who keep reminding you of your past, who keep feeding your negativity, you'll never get better. You need people who speak life into you, who encourage you, who remind you of your worth. Healing is not just about what you remove from your life, it's also about what you allow into your life. You've got to protect your spirit because not everybody is healthy enough to be close to you. And let me tell you, healing is not quick. It's not overnight. It's a process. And sometimes that process is painful. But every step you take toward healing is a step toward freedom. Every time you face the hard truth instead of running from it, you get stronger. Every time you choose to release something heavy, you make more room for peace, for joy, for love. That's why focusing on yourself means taking the time to heal what's broken. Because if you don't, that brokenness will keep costing you things you can't afford to lose. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest reasons people lose themselves is because they forget their own value. They start giving discounts on who they are. They lower their standards to keep people around. They settle for less because they don't believe they're worthy of more. And let me tell you something, when you undervalue yourself, the world will follow your lead. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how everybody else treats you. If you don't believe you're worth respect, other people won't give it to you. If you don't believe your time is valuable, other people will waste it. If you don't believe your love is precious, other people will take it for granted. That's why you've got to know your value and never apologize for it. See, the problem is too many people wait for someone else to validate. They wait for compliments, for approval, for somebody to tell them they're good enough. And if nobody says it, they start doubting themselves. But the truth is, your value doesn't come from other people. It doesn't come from how many likes you get. It doesn't come from how many followers you have. It doesn't come from who notices you. Your value comes from who you are, what you carry inside you, and the purpose God placed in you when he created you. You don't need a crowd to cheer for you before you start believing in yourself. You don't need a title, a position, or a spotlight to prove you're valuable. You're valuable because you're one of a kind. Because nobody else can do exactly what you can do the way you do it. When you forget your worth, you start tolerating things you should have walked away from a long time ago. You let toxic relationships drain you. You let negative people talk down to you. You stay stuck in situations that don't serve you because you think that's all you deserve. But when you know your value, you don't settle. You don't beg for attention. You don't chase after people who keep ignoring you. And you don't stay small just to make others comfortable. Knowing your worth gives you the courage to demand better, to expect more, and to walk away when something doesn't align with your purpose. And don't get it twisted. Knowing your value doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean looking down on people. It doesn't mean thinking you're better than anybody else. It simply means you refuse to accept less than what you're worth. It means you respect yourself enough to set boundaries, to say no when you need to protect your energy and your peace. Confidence and arrogance are not the same thing. Arrogance says, I'm better than you. Confidence says, I'm not competing with you because I know who I am. That's what knowing your value looks like. When you know your value, you stop begging for a seat at somebody else's table. You start waiting for opportunities to fall into your lap. You start building your own table. You start creating your own opportunities. You start walking into rooms with your head high because you know you belong there. You stop asking for permission to live your life, and you start giving yourself permission to chase after everything you're meant for. People respect people who respect themselves. And when you show the world that you know your worth, you'll start attracting people and opportunities that match that worth. Let me tell you something real. Life will test you to see if you know who you are. You'll face rejection. You'll face setbacks. You'll face people who try to tear you down. And if you don't know your value, you'll let those things define you. But when you're rooted in your worth, rejection doesn't break you, it redirects you. Setbacks don't discourage you, they prepare you. That's the power of truly knowing your value. Ladies and gentlemen, focusing on yourself is not just about growth, not just about healing, and not just about discipline. It's also about protecting what you've already built. Because if you don't pay attention to yourself, life has a way of stripping everything away. Your health can slip, your peace can slip, your relationships can slip, your opportunities can slip, and by the time you realize what's happening, it can be too late. Too many people work hard for years to get somewhere, but they lose it all because they forgot to protect themselves in the process. And I'm not just talking about money or material things. I'm talking about the things that really matter. The energy you carry, the people you love, the legacy you're leaving. The truth is, life is not easy, and it will test you every single day. Stress will come for you. Problems will come for you. The demands of other people will come for you. And if you don't take the time to focus on yourself, to recharge yourself, and to set boundaries, you will burn out. Burnout doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, piece by piece, until one day you wake up and realize you've lost your passion, you've lost your joy, and you've lost your strength. And here's the thing, when you burn out, it doesn't just affect you. It affects everything around you. It affects your family, it affects your work, it affects your ability to chase your dreams. That's why you've got to protect your energy like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Another reason you've got to focus on yourself is because opportunities don't last forever. If you're not prepared mentally, physically, and spiritually, opportunities will pass you by. Life will put something in front of you, but if you're too drained, too distracted, or too unfocused, you won't even recognize. Success is not just about being in the right place at the right time. It's about being the right person when the time comes. And you can't be the right person if you've been neglecting yourself. That's why protecting what you've built means being ready, being sharp, being clear about who you are and where you're going. Relationships are another area where neglecting yourself can cost you everything. When you don't take care of yourself, you start showing up half-hearted. You start snapping at people you love. You start withdrawing. You start losing the ability to connect. And before you know it, the very relationships that mattered most start slipping away. People think love alone can keep relationships strong, but that's not true. You can't give love if you're running on empty. You can't give patience, kindness, or support if you don't first give those things to yourself. Protecting your relationships means making sure you're whole enough to actually show up fully for the people who matter. Health is another area you can't afford to neglect. You can spend your whole life chasing success, but if you lose your health, none of it matters. I've seen people work themselves to death literally because they never slowed down, never took care of their bodies, never listened when their health was telling them to rest. And the crazy part is they thought they were being strong by pushing through, but in reality, they were weakening themselves. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. And if you don't service it, if you don't fuel it, if you don't take care of it, it will break down and you can't buy another one. That's why focusing on yourself is not optional, it's necessary. You've also got to protect your peace of mind. Stress, negativity, drama, these things will rob you blind if you let them. You've got to guard your mental space like a fortress. That means choosing carefully who you let around you, what you let into your ears, what you let into your heart. Because everything you allow in your space will either build you up or tear you down. Protecting your peace doesn't mean you're avoiding life. It means you're smart enough to know that not everything deserves your attention. And let me tell you this, once you lose everything, it's hard to get it back. That's why prevention is so important. It's easier to protect what you have than to rebuild what you lost. Protect your time, protect your energy, protect your health, protect your relationships, protect your peace, protect your future. Because if you don't, life will take it all from you, piece by piece, until you've got nothing left but regret.